Right, listen up, petrolheads. We humans, we love our cars. It's a love affair that stretches back over a century. From the first sputtering combustion engine to the sleek electric machines of today, cars have revolutionized the way we live, work, and play. They've given us freedom, adventure, and a whole lot of speeding tickets along the way. Don't pretend you haven't been there. But it wasn't always this way. Before the internal combustion engine became king of the road, getting around meant relying on horses, trains, or good old-fashioned foot power. Can you imagine a world without the roar of a V8 engine or the thrill of overtaking a slow Sunday driver? Well, buckle up, because we're about to take a trip down memory lane, exploring the evolution of the car, from its humble beginnings to the mind-blowing innovations that are shaping the future of transportation. This isn't just about horsepower and gear ratios, though. It's about the dreams, the failures, and the sheer ingenuity that have driven the automotive industry forward. We'll delve into the stories behind iconic cars, from the groundbreaking Ford Model T to the gas-guzzling behemoths of the muscle car era. We'll also uncover some of the more unusual and forgotten chapters in automotive history, like the ill-fated attempts to power cars with turbines or the sun's rays. So whether you're a die-hard motor enthusiast or simply curious about the machines that have shaped our world, get ready for a high-octane journey through the history of the automobile. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a wild ride. Our story begins, of course, not in some flashy design studio in Italy, but in a humble workshop in Germany. The year is 1886, and a bloke named Carl Benz, a right genius if you ask me, has just unveiled a contraption that will change the world forever. The Benz patent motor wagon. Now this wasn't some sleek aerodynamic speed demon, oh no. This was a three-wheeled open-air carriage powered by a single-cylinder four-stroke engine. It could barely muster 1 horsepower and topped out at a blistering 10 miles per hour. Imagine being stuck behind that on the Autobahn. But here's the thing. The patent motor wagon was the first practical automobile powered by an internal combustion engine. It proved that cars weren't just a passing fad, they were the future of personal transportation. Sure, it was noisy, smelly, and about as comfortable as riding a unicycle over cobblestones. But it moved under its own power, and that, my friends, was revolutionary. Benz's invention sparked a firestorm of innovation. Inventors and engineers across the globe, they all wanted in on the action. And so began the race to build faster, more powerful, and more reliable automobiles. Little did Carl Benz know that his little three-wheeler would pave the way for an industry that would one day dominate the world. Fast forward a couple of decades, and the automobile is no longer a novelty. But it's still a luxury, something for the wealthy to swan about in. That is, until Henry Ford came along with a bold idea to build a car for the masses. And in 1908, he did just that with the Ford Model T. Now the Model T wasn't much to look at. It was boxy, basic, and came in only one color, black. But it was affordable, reliable, and easy to maintain. And that's what mattered. Ford's genius was in realizing that you didn't need a car to be a status symbol. You needed it to be a tool, something that could get you from A to B without breaking the bank. To build his car for the people, Ford revolutionized manufacturing with the assembly line. Instead of skilled craftsmen taking weeks to build a single car, Ford's assembly lines churned out Model Ts at an astonishing rate. This meant he could sell them at a price ordinary people could afford. The impact was seismic. The Model T didn't just put America on wheels, it transformed society. It created jobs, spurred economic growth, and gave people an unprecedented level of personal freedom. Suddenly, you could visit relatives in another state, commute to work, or simply escape the city on a whim. The open road beckoned, and the world answered. The post-war years in America, a time of prosperity, optimism, and a burning desire for, you guessed it, more horsepower. The 1960s and 70s saw the rise of the American muscle car, a breed of automobile defined by its raw power, aggressive styling, and a sound that could melt asphalt. These weren't your dad's sensible sedans. These were beasts, machines designed to go fast in a straight line, preferably with a lot of noise and tire smoke. We're talking about legends like the Ford Mustang, the Chevrolet Camaro, the Pontiac GTO, names that still get petrolheads' hearts racing. The muscle car era wasn't just about speed though, it was a reflection of the cultural landscape, a symbol of American power and freedom. These cars were all about excess, about living life in the fast lane. They were the automotive equivalent of rock and roll, loud, brash, and full of rebellious spirit. Of course, the party couldn't last forever. The oil crisis of the 1970s, coupled with increasingly stringent safety and emissions regulations, brought the curtain down on the muscle car's golden age. But their legend lives on, a testament to a time when bigger was better and horsepower was king. Now, while those gas-guzzling muscle cars were busy tearing up the drag strips, a quiet revolution was brewing. The first electric cars had actually been around for ages, even predating the internal combustion engine. But they'd always been hampered by limited range, slow speeds, and the fact that they looked about as exciting as a milk float. Then, in the late 20th and early 21st century, things began to change. Concerns about climate change, coupled with advances in battery technology and electric motors, breathed new life into the electric car. Suddenly they were becoming a viable alternative to their petrol-powered cousins. Pioneers like Tesla shook up the automotive industry, proving that electric cars could be fast, stylish, and desirable. And with governments around the world pushing for cleaner transportation, the electric car revolution was well and truly underway. But it's not just about electric cars, you see. The automotive industry is in the midst of a technological renaissance. We're talking self-driving vehicles, advanced driver assistance systems, and cars that are more connected than your smartphone. The future of mobility is here, and it's electric, autonomous, and more exciting than ever before. Now, we've talked about cars on the ground, but what about cars in the sky? It sounds like something out of a science fiction film, but flying cars, a dream that's been around for decades, might finally be within reach. In recent years, companies around the globe have been developing and testing flying car prototypes. And guess what? Some of them actually work. Take the Chinese flying car, for example. This futuristic vehicle, unveiled in the 2020s, is essentially a giant drone with seats. It can take off and land vertically, making it perfect for navigating congested urban environments. Now, I know what you're thinking. Flying cars, isn't that a bit far-fetched? Well, maybe. But then again, people probably thought the same thing about horseless carriages back in the 1800s. The point is, technology is advancing at an incredible pace, and what seems impossible today could be commonplace tomorrow. Imagine a world where you could bypass traffic jams, soaring above the gridlock in your own personal flying machine. It might sound like a pipe dream, but if there's one thing the history of the automobile has taught us, it's to never underestimate human ingenuity. Not every car concept makes it to the road. For every breakthrough, there are wild ideas, solar cars, turbine engines, and outlandish designs that never quite worked out. But even these failures teach us something. Progress is messy, full of experiments and surprises. Who knows? The next wild idea might just change everything.